Hello, hello. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. I'm your host, Jessica Van Antwerp. I'm the owner of Integral Travel, a trip leader for Integral Travel, as well as an instructor. And I am delighted to be talking to you about sleep today. And I have an amazing specialist in the field, Dr. Damiana Corca. She is a holistic sleep specialist with training in acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and functional medicine. She's committed to helping people who struggle with sleep issues by helping them discover the root cause of those issues so they can get good sleep and continue to do so for the rest of their lives. Dr. Damiana has a local private practice right here in Boulder, Colorado, and serves her clients worldwide through private telemedicine consulting and group sleep programs. She's the founder of the Corca Sleep Method Program. So welcome, Dr. Damiana. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm in the wellness field. I've been in the wellness field for over a decade, and I'm starting to really, I've just in the last year or so honed down like some basic tenets of wellness, and sleep is one of them. And sleep has been more and more in the conversation around health and wellness, I think, in the last few years in our field, especially. I've been hearing a lot the phrase sleep hygiene. And so we're just beginning to start to understand the importance of sleep. And so perhaps you can share with us what you know about how sleep affects our health or lack thereof in a negative way.
Sleep is super impactful. You know this, when you sleep well, you wake up feeling good, feeling rejuvenated. Everything is just better. Your mood is better. So when we don't sleep well, it has many different things that could happen in our body, including our immune system not functioning as good as it possibly can, especially in these last couple of years. That has been a very important matter. And there is a lot of talk about the fact that sleeping well acts as prevention for dementia. And that is another big thing that a lot of people fear. And it's a driver for why people seek to sleep better. And sleeping well has many, many, many other benefits. Something we do 1/3 of 24 hours, and the body uses that time to restore, to detox, to process emotions. And yeah, when you sleep anywhere from 7.5 to 9 hours, life looks really good and looks amazing, especially if those 7.5 to 9 hours are good quality sleep.
Great. Okay, so I heard you say that sleep helps, good quality sleep helps the functioning of our immune system. It helps prevent dementia. It helps us process emotions and detox, helps the body restore, rejuvenate. It just helps a good outlook on life. So how did you get into the field and specializing in sleep?
I've been in this field in medicine for the last decade, and I still remember at the very beginning of my practice, my private practice, I lived in Tennessee for a little while in Chattanooga, and it must have been, I don't know, within the first 5 patients I had, one of them had fibromyalgia and also had sleep issues. And I still remember thinking, sitting down with her and thinking, if I could just get her to sleep, I bet everything will be better. And it was true. As long as she slept well, she didn't have any pain and she felt really well. Of course, when I helped her with her sleep, I looked at the whole body. So it wasn't that I was giving her something to sedate her and therefore the pain got better, but rather I took a holistic approach. So then after that, over and over again, I noticed how a lot of people have sleep issues, even if they didn't come in with a sleep issue as the main complaint. And so when I moved to Boulder about 10 years ago now, little by little, I decided to focus on this, and eventually it just became a specialty in the last 7 or 8 years, where all of my patients have some kind of a sleep issues. And of course, along with that, rarely goes by itself. If you don't sleep well, there is usually a little bit of a gut problem or a big gut problem. It just depends, or hormonal issues, or a lot of stress and anxiety and all of that. It's just like a whole body problem, especially when the sleep issue is chronic.
Yeah, I have actually been recently going through some sleep issues myself.
Oh,
So, so I can definitely attest to just how it affects your mood throughout the rest of the day, your ability to show up and do your job, your, yeah, overall like physical sensation in the body.
yeah.
So I'm curious about your approach with your patients when they come in and you want to help them sleep better. Where do you start?
I ask them questions about their life and how this all started. It usually gives us clues of what exactly triggered it. And sometimes it's sudden, many times it's not. Many people say, oh, I wasn't a great sleeper, but then it just got a lot worse. But ultimately, there's so many different causes, underlying root causes. But ultimately, what we want to find out, and what I try to find out with all of my patients and through my programs, all of that, is what is it that doesn't allow your nervous system, to put it broadly, to fully relax and let go at night. Because if you think about it, it's a very vulnerable situation that we put ourselves in when you close your eyes and basically you're not aware of your environment. So in order for your survival mechanism to allow you to do that, there has to be a certain amount of safety. Now, for some people, they're stressed in their life and they can just feel the stress in their body. But some people say, I don't have that much stress and yet I can't sleep.
Hmm.
So there is an internal stress. So your body knows best. It always does its best. And it says, no, it's better to stay up for whatever reason. So that's what I need to find out. Why exactly is the body such a stress reaction that it can't settle, or it chooses not to settle into sleep? Or what is it missing? What is aggravating it and agitating it? Or what is missing? That it could be even a nutrient or many of them, or that impact the whole.
That's really interesting. I had never considered it from that sort of survival perspective, of, yeah, that vulnerability when we're completely unconscious and unaware of our surroundings, which sort of ties into some of the other tenets of wellness. Do we have that graphic we could bring up, the 8 tenets of wellness? In the last couple of weeks, I've talked to Dr. Miles Nichols about the power of relaxation and physical relaxation, yes, but also the relaxation of the nervous system. Here's the tenets of wellness that we feature in all of our wellness retreats. And so you can see relaxation up there in the top right, and sleep, and they're in no particular order, but sleep down there. And that circular sort of almost flower of life kind of graphic just shows how everything is interrelated. So if we're not sleeping well, then there's something to do with this nervous system and this relaxation tenet of wellness too. So, it's all like a spider web with all of the little tendrils of the web. Sort of, if one gets tugged in this way, then there's going to be a reaction on the other side. So, all interrelated. Thanks for bringing up that graphic, Brielle. I had one other question that came up while you were speaking, but now I forget what it is. So, I really like that you say we try to find out either what's missing or what is maybe too much, like what's deficient or what's overactive in the system. So
I can give you a couple of examples just
great.
to make
Yeah.
it more real. Like, what's missing. Let's say you don't have enough vitamin B6, which is very, very crucial for sleep issues and for your mood. And I often see that being low, sometimes for genetic reasons. It gets drained out of the body. It helps make the calming neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. And that's just of course, we have vitamin B12, and there are many, many others, but that just stands out as one main thing that can be a problem. Or or even being anemic and not having enough iron in the body. That's a more obvious one that sometimes can get discovered more easily than a vitamin like B6. Then as far as what's agitating, aggravating, keeping it up, it could be, the most obvious one is daily stress and thought patterns and the mind being activated and not at peace. And that's a really big one. And I believe that mental, emotional, and spiritual healing is very, very, very important. Yes, we can work with the physical body, and I do that every day, but it's also interconnected. So if we can approach healing from all these different angles, you're going to see getting better and sleeping better through leaps and bounds. And to give you one more example, that's not very common, but it's common with people who are very ill and they're trying to figure out what is going on in their body. They can't figure it out. And it's like being exposed to mold, for example, or having a virus that's being constantly re-triggered, reactivated in the body, and the immune system has a hard time keeping it in check. The mold creates inflammation that is stressful to the body. It brings up more stress. The body doesn't feel safe to completely settle into sleep. The same with the virus, if you think about it, if the immune system barely is able to keep it in check, it's going to be stressful to the body. It's not very safe to sleep deeply. So, the body can't tell the difference between this is a bear chasing me and it's about to kill me, or my crazy, insane thoughts that bother me daily, or this virus that's constantly triggering the nervous system.
Right. Or as we've seen in the last couple of years through the pandemic, the fear of the virus.
Exactly.
Right? So many people are reporting sleep trouble these last couple of years. So.
Yeah, the fear, the anxiety, the world there are a lot of things happening and we're aware of everything. We have the internet and social media, and we know about everything in the world happening at the same time, which I believe we're not designed for that. We're supposed to know what's happening more in our village or in our city, because if we know what's happening around us, likely we can do something, even physically go help someone. But when so much is happening in the world, it feels so out of control. Of course, there is beauty knowing what's happening in the world, because yes, we can make change. But me sitting here in my office, if there is a war somewhere else, I feel like I can't do anything, like literally except praying. And sometimes that feels like it might not be enough. But you know how that feels like. So
yeah. Are there I do want to sort of go back to the supplementation and just to say to anyone who's watching or listening, to don't just go out and get some B6 or some iron based on Damiana's recommendation. Call her. Get some functional medicine, get some blood work to actually measure what's going on in your blood system, so you're not just kind of like randomly throwing whatever at your sleep issue. Have the guidance of someone like Dr. Damiana to help you figure out where you can supplement which nutrient that you might be deficient in. And Dr. Damiana, where are there any kind of tips that you might recommend to anyone who's watching that they could start at home without perhaps talking to a medical professional?
Yeah, the daily habits, the things that we do every day, they're all very important, especially if the sleep issues are not as chronic, if what we do every day matters. And for some people, they feel like no matter what they do, no matter how perfect their sleep hygiene rules are in the evening, no matter how they don't drink any coffee, maybe any alcohol, it just doesn't make a dent. And that's when I recommend to people to look for help from someone like me. But they all matter at a deeper level. So even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes, they probably do matter. It just might take time, and they might need to get extra help. But the one important concept that I'm going to say that impacts everything is that I love to split the day, the 24 hours, within two chunks, 12 and 12 hours, and have 12 hours of activity and movement and doing your work and exercise and being in the world, and then the other 12 hours being focused on going inward, sleeping,
Mm.
more self-care, trying to put away the social media, the newspaper, the emails. And I'm pointing this out because most of us, maybe we do, 8 hours or 9 hours of slowing down. Let's say you sleep for 7.5 or 8 hours if you're sleeping well, or you're in bed for that amount of time, and then maybe you allow an hour to wind down. And some people don't even do that, but if you do that, that's great. But I also want to say that if you add 3 more hours of winding down, of going inward, of saying no to all the tasks that you have to do, it's absolutely amazing. It's like yin and yang 12 hours in, 12 hours. So that I usually look at that at 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. being that in kind of aspect. And then the yang is like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And so after you have dinner, consider entering that in part of the 24 hours by telling to yourself, yes, I haven't finished all the things that I need to do. I'm worried about the world. I'm worried about this and that and the other thing, but it's not going to help anyone to keep thinking about it, keep checking things. Um, if you allow yourself to mentally take a break from everything and almost do that selfishly, like it's all about you. Now, if you have kids, I understand you can't stop things at 7 p.m., but do your very best, or other circumstances, I'm not sure. But when it comes to jobs and things that we tell ourselves that we have to do, think about it twice. Do you really, really have to
Right.
do whatever you're telling yourself you need to do? So after 7 p.m., you can jot down, or even before that, things that you got to do for tomorrow that keep circling in your head. You can maybe watch a movie right after dinner if you want. So then you can put the electronics away completely after that and read a book and just take a break from everything. Tell yourself there is nothing I can do until tomorrow morning, and I choose to just find peace tonight. And then tomorrow morning I'll wake up and I'll deal with whatever comes. But to break that pattern of pushing our evenings too much
Yeah, I like
is
that.
really important.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we're never gonna get to the end of our to-do lists, and
No.
and that's okay. And so, yeah, just like you say, at the end of the evening, just say, "Here's what I did accomplish today," instead of focusing on, what you didn't accomplish. And I really like, that perspective of the yin and the yang, because I'm big. I love Chinese medicine. It really speaks to my soul, but I had never considered, like, following, that sort of cycle and evenly splitting up the day into those 12-hour chunks. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Dr. Damiana, if people are intrigued about your work and want to get in touch with you, how can they do that? What's the best way?
By going to my website at damianacorca.com, DAMIANACORCA.com. Also, if you want to learn about more immediate things that you can do, our time today together was not that long. So, and there is so much that I can talk to when it comes to sleep. So if you want to learn more about the simple things that you can do at home around, I don't know, the caffeine, the alcohol, should you take a nap? Should you not? Should you drink milk in the evening? Stuff like that people ask me all the time. I put these five different there are five different sleep myths, and then I have a bonus there of 5 misconceptions around sleep. So if you go to damianacorca.com/sleep myth, you can find that free gift that I have for you. And I think you'll enjoy that. You'll just get an email, so you can look through that. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your time with us today. I certainly learned a few valuable things that I didn't know, even despite all of my knowledge in health and wellness. So I really hope that any of you out there watching learn some things that you can put into practice immediately. And feel free to reach out to Dr. Damiana if you would like to work with her. And if you have any questions whatsoever, comment in the comments below and we'll stay in touch. And if you really liked the show today, you want more health and wellness tips, visit us at integraltravel.com. There's an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter so you can get these health and wellness tips pushed right into your inbox. And follow us on social media. We're integral.travel on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter, we're IT_adventures. And YouTube, find our channel. We have lots of videos with health and wellness tips for movement, as well as the other episodes in this Wellness Wednesday series. So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Have a wonderful day.